I've noticed a one. Yeah.
Oh, good evening. This is the Dayton Historical Commission meeting on May 9th. It's now 6:14. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. The listing of the matters are those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. And we'll do a roll call. So I'm Pat Gales, the chair.
Robert Delphin, Vice Chair and Clerk.
Pat Olson,
Dave Marble.
Irene Alley.
Okay. Dave Marble has been approved to be a member of the commission, but he's not sworn in yet, so he won't be voting on items tonight. Okay, let's stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
Secretary's report. We have the minutes from April 7th. Oh, it says 2022, but it should say 2023. I'm gonna have to have Pat like review my agendas. And the minutes of April 11th, 2023. The April 7th one is our visit to Segregated Schoolhouse, and the April 11th ones were our regular historical commission meetings. Were there any amendments or changes to these minutes?
Did I spell Dave's last name correctly? Is it Marvell or Marvell? Marvell or Vill? Marvell, right?
I think that's correct.
Sure.
And we can double check that. All right, so there's no amendments. So I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of April 7th, 2023 and April 11th, 2023 minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, Rafa,
I
Pat,
Aye.
Irene,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. Okay. Dave, we just want to check the spelling of your name. Marvill.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
If not, you're gonna have to change. No, that's right. Rafa wants you to be Marvell.
All right, our budget is 1,000.
Wait a minute. Minutes of April 11th.
We just did them all together.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
Yes.
yeah,
Did you read my
I did.
second one? Okay, no complaints?
No,
Because it was very challenging.
yeah, we just voted on that.
It took me 2 days.
They're very good, Rafa. That video a lot, huh?
I know, right?
Okay, are you ready now? Okay. All right. FY 23 budget, our balance is $1,387.91. Going forward, just keep that in mind because we are going to have to encumber around $600 for the GIS mapping. So that'll take it down to 1787.91 for our expendable amount for FY 23. Okay. Oh, for crying out loud. FY 23 end of fiscal year proceedings. So I gave you all of the instructions that Serena sent the town accountant about when our final invoices are due, our bills no later than Thursday, July 6th. Encumbering is no later than July 6th, 2023. Petty cash and payroll, we have nothing to do with. most of this stuff doesn't really apply to us. Oh, we knew you were going to say that. No, it's
You did it.
6. The website says 7, but it's 6.
I'm sorry.
That's
I was
okay.
coming early and do some studying for the meeting tomorrow night. Hi.
I
Oh,
But
just haven't really gotten a lot
got
done.
you too far.
good.
So this is just some information for you. Well, we'll just put that on pause for a minute and we'll introduce, this is Peter Karen, our Board of Selectmen liaison. He is taking Ken Pacheco's place. So welcome,
Thank you
Peter.
very much. That was a nice welcome. Thank you.
And of course, you know me, I'm Pat
I know, Rafa.
Rappa.
Pat Olson.
Hi, Pat. Nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you.
You know,
No, me, Dave Mal, how you doing? Hello again.
Irene Alley.
Hi, Irene. Nice to meet you.
okay, so we're the commission. We have 2 openings.
Okay.
So, so we were
I know
just,
somebody else who wants to be on it. My son. He keeps asking me. You know, Zach, who does.
Yeah, I know Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Appeals?
Yeah.
Interested?
Oh, very. He asked. He asked me several months ago and I told him to hook up with you. And I don't think he ever did, but when he knew I was coming tonight, he
Yeah.
thought maybe he'd tag along.
oh,
I said, it's my first meeting, maybe you should wait. But yeah, he loves me.
oh yeah, he's more than welcome to come in.
Okay, I'll tell him that.
Wants to fill out a volunteer application.
Right,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. He'd be a good addition.
Oh, he's a great kid. Oh, kid, he's an adult.
Yeah, but-
He's still my kid.
I was going to say, he'll always be your kid.
It doesn't matter, because it's. So we're just going over on the back and your back pages. The first whole packet thing that was clipped together is a thing from PAL. It's the, they do the archaeological kinds of study things.
Okay,
So they're doing some in Sweet Knolls and along the rail trail. So that's just for your information, because we talked about that at the last meeting and we'll talk a little bit more about it later. Then way in the back is a thing from Serena on the end of the year procedures. A map. What we do have to change is the 2024 fiscal year signature authorization. We had just done this in February, but she's trying to streamline it to get all of everyone on the same page so that it runs from through the fiscal year. So she asked that we fill it out again for fiscal year 2024. So we'll just fill it out and then we have to decide who the primary signature is going to be for the warrant and bills and who the alternates are. And we can have 2 alternates as we had before if we want. So let's just do our names first, and then we'll go to the next one. Martha? So since we will be encumbering some money, I'm going to work with the town administrator and the GISI mapping company for the estimated invoice to submit. Because our survey project is behind, so we're going to have to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Dave, I think you're going to have to pass on that. You're not sworn in yet.
Sounds good. I'm not going on the table right now.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm certainly, we can add you once you,
Yeah, I'll see him tomorrow night.
yeah,
It's like everything else, the times got
Yeah.
So. It's funny, I remember when I talked to him, I said, I'll be there at 5:15. Is that enough time? Cause you leave by, oh, yeah, I'll be ready for you.
No, he probably forgot. So,
The schedule's easy to get, so.
all right. So now the decision is who do we want for the primary signature and who do we want for the alternates?
You want to do primary again?
I can do that if, and then have Rafa and Pat as the alternates.
That's fine.
Or do you want to be the primary, Pat?
I don't think you should be. I
You
don't
wonder-
care if he is.
Yeah,
Because I don't care who it is, who's the primary, because sometimes if you have something little that you do, you're making the bill and now you're approving the bill. for money.
okay,
I
yeah,
think That's wrong.
okay. No, good point. Good point. So
Conflict of interest?
It is.
we want to keep it clean.
That's right. So if you want it to be
So
Rafa. I'm
Rafa-
fine with that.
Okay, I'm fine, whatever, you know?
All right, I'll do it.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve Rafa Delphin as the primary signature and Patricia Olson and Patricia Gales as alternates.
It's so moved.
Yeah, you can.
I'm listed. Oh, all right.
I guess. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we'll vote. Rafa, Pat, Irene,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. All right, so this is going to be Rafa. Do I have to put Raphael or Rafa?
I don't care. Barbara.
Yeah.
Always spell your name wrong.
Rafael.
Okay, and and we just have to. All right, so you just have to sign it and we're good. Have Pat sign it. Okay, thank you. Discuss and review the James Briggs Garden site. Well, the good news is I got an invoice from BP from Mr. Clifford. And the balance owed is 0.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Wow, really?
Yes,
Nice.
yeah, and they did a lovely job on the sign, so I think we should send them a thank you.
Or certificate, maybe.
Make a
Yeah,
certificate.
recognition or thing, acknowledgement or something.
Oh, would you like to be in charge of that? Okay,
That would be nice.
yeah,
At least then that way the students would know that they're appreciated.
Sure.
Yep.
So what's the bad news?
we still have to pay, I think we'll still have to pay for the pressure treated signs, posts, the wood.
Jim Aguirre's not donating that like BP did? That's a no? Oh.
I think we'll still have to pay for that. So, and that was estimated at $64 to $70 if the wood doesn't go up. So I'm not sure where that
Has
stands.
he already put the sign in?
No,
I
no.
I have the wood at home. I don't mind bringing it in. I got so much of it from when we took down a deck.
Okay,
It's all pressure treated.
Oh,
4x4,
Yes.
8 feet long.
they're like 6 by 6 by, I think the measurements that the BP said was 6 by 6
Oh,
by
6 by
8.
6. No, I'm 4
Yeah.
by 4.
I don't know, it might work.
If it works.
with Jim.
Yeah, let's talk with Jim. I'll see him tomorrow night.
Okay, okay. All right, that would help too. And I know that they're working to get all the signs to install at one time, so. All right, the Nat I do that every time. My grandson is Nate. In Crane's house, how's that? No update. So I haven't really worked on all that. I don't have any update on 2120 Water Street. Ron did send an email and he did list some preservation things, so we can start our database of that. So we had a place out of Newcastle, Maine, and one out of Salvage, and of course, the Preservation Mass, use that website. So we'll start a database of that stuff. Okay, now, Historical Commission 50th, Rafa.
Well, last time I did propose that the town would have a time capsule
Mm-hmm.
to be open 50 years from now. And we have to decide what kind of stuff do we put in this time capsule. It has to be something that reflects, of course, all the happenings going on right now this year, 2023, in Dayton, or local, or national, whatever. So if you,
Great.
Peter, get an idea what to put in this time.
Yeah, let me think about it, but definitely. Well, I'll be the one that opens it.
The second comment.
75 by then.
Yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
I know I mentioned last time, maybe some newspapers would,
Yeah,
I mean, do they hold up pretty well in the capsules? They should, right? If we put
I
them in
think,
plastic.
yes, we can always put in a copy of on Daily Gazette that featured historical commission members
Yes.
on the cover. Remember? I framed it.
Oh, the historical houses, yeah.
That's a good one.
Did I have my tiara on in that? picture?
No, actually inside the newspaper, but not on the outside
Okay,
of the
fine.
cover. Well, the recent event that happened 2 weeks ago. that
Yeah.
Kid. Sure.
Oh,
What a way
We
to.
have to put it in the good and the bad one as well.
Right. It's just what's happening at this time.
Exactly.
Right.
It is what it is. That's his.
Yeah.
story. So the teacher who won the award.
Yeah.
from
Right.
Dayton, we can put that one too.
Yeah, and Dayton, theater company just was one of 25 throughout the nation that got recognized.
Really.
So I don't know if that, but they just received the award last week.
Hopefully 50 years from now, they'll inspire future Daytonians.
Right.
To continue excellence.
We should put something in about the library.
The library, of
Yes.
course, definitely.
what about the new Aggie school? Would that fall into it? Or is it a little
It's
too
part of
late? Because that's all brand new, maybe.
It opened, what, 3 years ago, like 3 years?
Is it?
ago?
I know they had
Yeah.
a reopening just a few months ago.
Right.
Anything from the festivals, the Township Festival, Strawberry Festival,
Hmm.
Firecracker Festival, whatever, Yeah, a lot of things that we can put in the time capsule. Now we have to decide how big the capsule is going to be. And where it's going to be.
Where's it going
buried.
to go?
That's-
So I'm thinking we should probably write a letter to the Board of Selectmen
Sure.
and write a letter and that, we're planning to do this to celebrate the 50 years of a historical commission. And definitely we should put some past things in there too, like when the historical commission began. But write a letter to the Board of Selectmen and ask for probably advice on location, because it should be on town property.
Right. It makes
Was it?
sense that it go on at town hall, but I don't know if
The
there's
thing
another.
is, there's no guarantee that the town hall will still be
Right.
standing 50 years from now.
Right,
Wasn't the vault an option last month?
Yeah, I could put it in the vault.
Because even if, they'll empty it,
sure.
if something
Sure.
would have happened to it, so.
Right.
You don't have to worry about digging a hole, you don't have to worry about somebody stealing it.
Right, it's just a matter of
Trying to
somebody
find out where
finding
you
it.
put it.
finding
Yeah, like, where is it?
Yeah.
That makes more sense because it's safe.
Mhm.
Is there room in the vault?
I'm not going to say there's plenty, but there'd be room for this.
I think you could, because if worse came to worse, we could find a space. We have a little section of that vault.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
The old library.
That's still stand.
Your home in the Dayton Historical Commission, Carnegie Library.
When we get there, right?
Yes, baby steps.
Taking requests soon on what to do with it.
Well, I've always given my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, should be our buildings,
Mm.
our space to meet.
We have space.
Yeah.
We're expanding.
You have an office?
No,
Oh,
No,
no,
put one there.
yeah, no. So when I go into our file cabinet, which is in the stairwell,
Yep.
in town
Oh,
hall.
you'd be kidding.
No, no. So I'll be working there. So I'll go by and they'll say, oh, excuse me. I think that's okay. I'm in my office.
Yeah.
All right. So we should have some past stuff from the Dayton Historical Commission. We talked about the people and I was going to do some research on that on the first committee. You had some old photos that you found too in the annual reports that you looked at, right?
It's tons.
Yeah,
Yeah, I stopped in 1995, so next week I'm gonna go
okay.
pursue the rest.
How about an ad from a supermarket or something in a restaurant, because people like to see, oh my gosh, we paid
Yeah.
this
Hannaford's.
Yeah.
50 years ago,
Or
milk
even
was $2.25 a
Alice's
gallon.
last stop.
Oh, the menus.
Yes.
The menus, I think were 1712,
Mhm.
Dunkin'. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Get the pizza joint CNN, I think.
And Dayton House of Pizza is too.
Yes,
Yeah,
too.
Dayton.
You can grab a menu off them, throw them in
Sure.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Rafa, do you want me to write the letter to the Board of Selectmen or do you want to take care of that on?
We can write it if you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
Send me the draft, so I can
Yeah,
look at it.
okay. Anything else that we need to? Just keep thinking ideas and how big we want it. It's always better to have more and then weed out,
Sure.
Yeah,
than not have enough.
Right.
I mean, even if you got some of the high school memorabilia, maybe a graduation program.
this year's graduating.
Yeah.
class.
Hmm.
Didn't they have an outdoor graduation ceremony a few years ago?
They usually have it
Was it-
outdoors.
They usually do.
Try to do it
They used to
outside.
have it in the courtyard.
Yeah.
But they've moved it to the high school gymnasium, high school athletic field.
Okay.
And if it rains, then they move it indoors.
Right.
You might want
So
to
they
get
had-
one from Bristol Aggie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And the middle school might even have a program for
I
the
was gonna
late
say,
breakers.
that, if maybe the middle school would have one.
All right, so we'll keep working on that. So we had also talked about along those lines, preserving memories of Dayton and doing some oral history things. I know there's some things online that kind of help you develop your questions and, how to conduct the interviews and
Yeah, I
stuff.
remember when Ron Smith was still here. He recommended that we interview Myrna.
Oh, we should interview,
'cause
yeah,
She's the town historian. And she knows obviously a lot
Hmm.
more than anybody else, so.
and also should be, we said, our Boston Post cane recipient.
Mhm.
But you have to have, when you're gonna do these kinds of things, you have to have your questions ready and
Right.
focused,
So,
so that you're not,
Too much hot script.
yeah, yeah, I mean, it's very easy to get very like into the weeds a little bit. So, we want to make sure that we stay on topic, what do we want to ask? Like, and we know, Ms. Perry had experience with Mount Hope Finishing Company. Her family worked there, right? Did she work there too?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah, but I know her parents did.
And she lived on School Street.
Mhm.
It was actually a school on School Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't Myrna have her own cable show?
She does, but we were taping her for a while and then like COVID hit and then she had some health issues going on. We're trying to bring her back. And I'm waiting for her to give me the green light to do those shows again. We enjoy doing the shows with her. It's just
Ah.
I getting her down here,
It's
so.
fun, yeah,
Yeah,
she interviewed me right there, here.
Okay, I think, yeah, we're out here doing that show, yeah. And she has a wealth of information. I mean, it's just so much out there. You can, one day she came down, we're doing a shoot for the library, and she went on for 45 minutes about the history. You just sat there listening to her like. I said, Myrna, you can do your own show just talking about this on a podcast, just
Exactly.
keep going,
Yeah,
has that one aired yet?
No, we're still waiting for there's Dalton's do the editing on that with Final Cut, so we're trying to figure out where he's at, so. We move forward and then we have to wait because like we had Andrew doing it in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and he left, so now Dalton's doing it, so. I like to do editing myself. It's always been my dream, but now my work has started getting back to where it's busy again, because I work for the Department of Transportation for the government, so it's just been nonstop the last 2
Mhm.
months.
Okay. I think we should talk to the Council on Aging.
mhm.
And because they would have some contacts too, as to for people that we should interview.
Mary Rebello,
Yeah,
104.
I know, I was just thinking of her. I
Wow.
saw her the other day when I had stopped at the post office early in the morning. She's 104. That's the one we did the party for. And I looked and I saw the daughter go in, and then I happened to look over in the car and there she is sitting in the car, ready to go to prime time.
Really?
That's sweet.
When she puts that walker in front of her, she moves faster than you and I.
Yep,
Sharp mind still.
yes.
all right, so we need to think like. We want them talking about their life experiences, their times in Dayton, what they remember about Dayton.
Or like family history, yeah. I mean, I see each person is a book.
Mm,
When you read a book, it's the same thing as getting to know the person. So what do you have to share with us as far as your life is concerned that's related to Titan history?
If you ask them a more pointed question, I think they would feel more comfortable answering it,
Yeah,
and it would expand from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I would think to ask the question, where did you go to school? So that would bring up where the schools were when they were going to school. Did they go to the one-room schoolhouses? Did they, old Dayton High? And then you could ask things about school and what was your favorite subject? Just things that mean nothing, but you'd be surprised what you'd get out of them.
Right.
You know?
like where did you work? Did you work?
Yeah. Did you
Mhm.
work? Do you remember how much you made an hour?
Yeah.
Things like
That
that.
always leads to something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Okay, and we'll, just start brainstorming, write down those kinds of questions and, let's bring them next time. And we can start, collating them because we want to get this going as quickly as we can. Questions. All right, anything else that any to go for tonight? We'll keep working on it. Okay. We'll need questions. For the people, different people to interview. Would this be something that you might want to film too, video?
I was just thinking to myself how you would do this. We can try doing the video with this. And then the good thing is if it's halfway decent, we can probably put it up on our YouTube Dayton
Yeah,
channel.
we were just.
And they
yeah.
preserved that for years.
Yeah, but I was thinking even, even just to record it like we record our meetings so that we can have a digital copy of it somewhere,
Hmm.
or you can use your phone or iPad, somehow. You just have to make sure that they're agreeable to recording beforehand. Okay. All right. So we'll work on that again in June. All right. Our area form for Lower Four Corners. So I sent Ben Haley an email. And he emailed me back. We have to send him a letter requesting that these areas, we said we were gonna do one. I mean, we could probably send all three, be evaluated, and then they schedule the evaluations and inform us of the findings. But I think a letter on our letterhead, which I'll draft and we'll send off. They also advised that if the property owners are in these districts that we're talking about, that we may make them aware of the possibility of listing early on in the process. Because if a majority of the owners object, then it can't go forward. Thinking about that, I was like, well, we could go to the Board of Selectmen and ask to be on the agenda to talk about going ahead with this plan. So that's one way of letting the residents know that we're moving ahead on getting a National Register district. And again, talk about what's the difference between the National Register district and a local historic district. Because those two things, we have to keep pounding home that they're not the same. A National Register district doesn't have any restrictions on it. Eventually, we do want to talk about local historic districts and making those in town, because that's going to be one of the ways of helping to preserve some of our buildings. Because through bylaw, you make that as strict as you want, as the town wants. But that's one of the more effective ways of preserving.
Sure.
Um,
So it keeps the house from being torn down, but by having that protection.
It can, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If it's in a National Register district, as we can see, like on Water Street at 2120, because there's no requirements, then that house is just sitting there now. And it's not in very good shape. And that's one of the oldest houses in town. So I was going through the folders that were in our files about the Quorum Shipyard District and the Wharf District to see if there were any letters, samples of what they wrote to people before, when those became districts. And I only found one from 1992, and it just very short but sweet. The Dayton Historical Commission have been trying for years to get the Dayton Wharfs on the National Register of Historic Places. Owners were notified then. I can't find the previous letter yet. But we're now notifying new owners and the residents of Mighty Cove Lane not on the original plan. And it says this action will not in any way restrict homeowners as to color of paint and additions made, but the commission would like to talk the matter over with you if you plan to make changes. And then it describes where the district started. This is when they were looking at that whole area as the Lower Taunton area, because it goes from Smith Memorial Hall on Main Street east to the river along Water Street and Pleasant Street as far as Hart Street. So they were trying to encompass that whole area, and it actually ended up to be the two different historic districts. And then, fast forwarding to today, the rest of the piece of that is that South Dayton area that we did, that came out through the survey. So I think a letter, what I was thinking is a letter to the homeowners to let them know that this process is under consideration, and also to send them, there's a know-how, what the difference is between the two districts, and also like a fact sheet kind of thing on National Register Historics, National Registers of Historic Places, and include that in the mailing to them as a beginning. At the same time, start the process for Lower Four Corners with Mass Historical Commission. And once we get word from them, then we can invite everyone, the homeowners to a meeting where we can talk face to face, address their concerns. Of course, that would be open to anyone in the public. So, thoughts? Sound good? Like a plan?
What point does the letter go out?
The letter to
What point in your?
I would think sooner than later,
Will the meeting be held here?
we could have a meeting here. Yeah,
Okay, so it's like a special meeting.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, we
Um,
can provide refreshments because it's a good way to attract people to come, food and drinks.
right, right. I mean, if we go, like to the Board of Selectmen and kind of update them what our plans are for Lower Four Corners. At the same time, also send like an introductory letter to the homeowners to say, that your home has been identified to be in an area. I would do that like,
That would be just the ones that are identified as historical.
Or anybody in the area.
and anybody in the area.
So even if you got a 1990 house or
Mm-hmm.
2010 house, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Because we have all the addresses that would,
Mhm. It's great. Very exciting.
Yeah, how does that work? If you have a house that was built in 2010 and it happens to be in that district?
it's included in the area, but it's a non-contributing property. Because there was one that was included in the brick area. So the brick area is Center Street and Pine Street. And in order to include the cemetery, the Hathaway Cemetery that's there in that area, there's a fairly brand new house, so it's listed as in there, but it's also listed as a non-contributing property. So it doesn't contribute to the historic value of the area.
So any restrictions or when you talked about, you'd like to talk to them if they were going to make changes, either to the exterior color or whatever else?
That was in the letter from 1992. Yeah.
Well, I think that would scare a lot of people.
Yeah, I
That's why
wouldn't-
I'm asking when the letter is going.
No, I wouldn't put that in. I would make it more informational as to, that we're considering a national register, what the definition of that is. And include the pamphlets, for them too, to read from Mass Historical Commission. We can put a packet together in June. We can take a look at it together, see if it does what we want. And then after that, we'll make a plan to go to the Board of Selectmen and mail the letter.
You get something positive can quickly turn into a negative if you
Mhm.
start
Right.
telling people you can't paint your
Exactly.
house.
Right, right.
Especially if they have this new home that was built in the district.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a brand new house and you're gonna tell me something about my house? I don't think so.
Yeah, so that's why we have to be very clear about what the National Register is, that there are no restrictions within that district. And that's what we're going for now. But we also have to be upfront and say that it does not preclude that at some point in time, through town bylaw, we wouldn't pursue this to be a local historic district where there could be restrictions. I don't know, it's a fine line, but you're preserving the history. Just because it's an honorary designation in the National Register isn't going to preserve it. Now, some people take marvelous care of their historic properties. They are so proud of them. They're so invested in them. They're just, we saw that when we did the historical homes presentation that I did. The people that talked, including you and Rafa, talked about their homes. You could see your pride and the love in your homes,
Yes.
and every person that got up and talked had that same pride. So. Yeah, and I agree, it's a concern because no one wants to be told what to do.
They tried that a few years ago. I don't know if you guys remember at town meeting, they were trying to preserve the old walls, historical walls, and some people got offended saying like, now you're telling me what I can do with my property, and it sort of got defeated, So it's right what you said, we have to be very careful
And,
because.
and it's a matter of education too, and talking to the people in the public out there, why are we doing this? Why isn't the preservation important? What does preservation add to the community? adds character, it adds us who we are. It tells us who we are and
Saves the history of
it
the
saves the
area.
history, yeah.
You may have a house, say, built in 2010, but originally that property was part of a historical landmark at some point, I would
Mm.
think.
Yeah, my wife and I walk down the Bristol Royal Island often in the summer when it's warm. And those, that historical streets down, that's so beautiful with their homes. I mean, some are built by captains and
Yeah.
shipping captains and everything else. And it's just, like you said, they really take a pride. And it's so beautiful down there too.
And we have equal to Bristol's history here in
Mm.
Dayton. Our history is significant.
Well, you even see the homes down on Pleasant Street.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know, from Muddy Cove Lane down, there's like a group of houses
yeah, that's
in
the
there.
work district, yeah,
And, you know, that is really nice to see
Yeah.
that.
yeah. And we want to be proud of it.
Yeah.
You and I talked about doing a little program.
Walking
for
tours,
those
yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
Maybe if something like that could come before the letters for the people in the lower four corners, it's just like an introduction.
Hmm.
This is what we're trying to do. And look at, we're gonna tell you about these homes. We're gonna tell you what they were used for and there's a very limited number. So it's not 10 houses you're talking
Yeah.
about, it's 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 4 or 5.
So you started with something like that, and then the people in town would say, oh, so the historical commission is starting to do this, all right, and you're not bothering anybody yet. So then if you send them the letter after that, that the area you live in is being considered
Mhm.
and, introduce it that way, just not to scare people off.
Right.
So there's a number of steps that we have to do, yeah, and I agree. I think the more the people in our town are aware of the history, the more pride they're going to take in it, and the more, well, I can speak for myself, the more I've learned, the more I'm
Mm.
like, wow, it's impressive.
Sure. Would you put signs up saying this is an historic district or?
We can,
Yep.
There are grants out there for some signage. Yeah, because
Okay.
you see that in Berkeley. Berkeley
Yes.
has theirs. Swansea has.
That's what, I grew up with
Yeah.
Swansea. That's what I was thinking, off of this Neck Road. And they have signs you're entering an historic
Yeah.
district. And it's funny because there's probably 10 homes at the most.
Yeah.
But there's now 50 homes.
Well, even, I'll use your house as an example, because I can remember what that house was like years ago when I was on the fire department. And the house had gone in disrepair. Well, now he has taken
Oh, yeah.
with his significant other and has done like a whole revamping of that house. And I went by that the other day and it was like, oh my God, it really looks nice. I had a chance to kind of slow down a little bit, look. And it's impressive, Rafa. It really is from what it was before to what you've done. Now you've got the marker on
I
there.
have you on my surveillance camera if you talk.
But it's just, I don't get too close. It's just nice to see that house, that it has some history and historical significance to be put back to its heyday.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm.
It's nice.
Still needs a spire.
Yeah. So I said to my husband, I said, he still look, my husband remembers that spire.
Yeah, that's what's missing in my house is a spire
Yeah.
to complete the look. But now I have to deal with the planning board
For Aspire?
because I think it's in the bylaws. You just cannot install a spire in your
Oh.
rooftop.
Right, you can only go a certain height.
Exactly,
Ah.
exactly. So I have to provide in all the graphics, what it used to look like in the
Right.
days and why.
Okay.
So.
All right, how's this for a timeline? We start the process with the Mass Historical Commission for the Lower Four Corners Area Forum. Maybe after our June meeting, we talk to the Board of Selectmen about our plans. Plan a walking tour of the 2 districts that we had talked about. Then a letter to the homeowners. And then probably an informational meeting. Does that sound like a reasonable?
Mhm.
Those steps.
Does?
Yeah.
Okay. It may take us a couple of months to get through all of
Yeah.
that, but that's okay.
Might take you more than a couple of months to
Yeah.
get through that. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Especially if they end up being months like I had that past month. Okay. Our community-wide survey, I reached out to Stacy, but she did not get back to me for an update. So I will continue asking her for an update. And Rafa. We have some historical markers.
Yes, yeah, the new purveyor of historical marker signs, Honan Signs Incorporated. They're based in Winthrop, Massachusetts. Well, I've been like hounding them to create a mock-up of historical marker for the Standish House. So, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. And I called them a few days ago and they said they just swamped with signs, making signs. So I'm gonna give them another week or so, and then I'm gonna send them a follow-up email. Meanwhile, Dan was very, very helpful. He helped me a lot as far as researching two properties located on Chase Street, 150 Chase Street, which belongs to Joseph and Carol Furtado. He was able to print out the deeds. These are humongous information. These maps, the all this documentation, and I didn't see any problem with that. Here to look at it if you want. And then the other house is 158 Chase Street, which belongs to Joan and Robert Woods, Woody. And this is the deed as well. Another interesting information that he found was that there was no listing for Chase in the years 1913, 1917, 1920, and 1921. No listing for Chase Street. However, in the 1921 annual report, there was, I guess, a town meeting. They voted that the layout of Andrews, Bow, and Park Street, and the extension of Chase Street, Prospect Street, and School Street in accordance with plans dated December 1921 to be adopted, and also the extension of Chase Street, etc. So yeah, it wasn't until 1921 that Chase Street and all the other surrounding streets were constructed, were built.
So there were no homes there prior
There were
to.
no homes, none
Oh,
whatsoever.
interesting.
Yeah, so I'm sure Marina would probably be very interested in all this information. So this is a 1913 Diamond Directory, and you don't see Chase Street at all. 1917, no Chase Street, etc. And let's see. Go to the surprise store.
That's a store.
This was in 1921. All right, so these are all information related to the area. There's some layout mapping. This is from February 1921, the blueprint, etc. So tons of information that Dan found from just each registry. Sure.
Thank you.
Is that all digitized?
No,
No,
you can make copies.
make copies?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, you can make them go into town hall and make them,
Oh, that's true.
you know,
There's lots of paper there.
yeah. Because I mean, I think that's great. We should have an extra copy to put in files, and I love to work with those kinds of things.
So, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the application for historical marker for 150 Chase Street.
Oh. Spell 'em.
Huh?
Yeah,
Okay, any? So moved?
so move.
Okay. Any
For a second.
seconds?
Second.
Discussion?
What date did you find for these two properties? 1921
1921, yes.
by Mount Hope Manufacturing?
Ooh, actually, the Mount Hope Finishing Company, and they sold it to Dayton Realty Company.
Right.
So it's actually
Right.
Dayton Realty Company.
So the Dayton Realty Company.
Right, so if a
Okay.
historical marker would be made, it would say Dayton Realty Company, date, year 1921, something.
And what is Vicky Piazza? What is this?
Vicky Piazza is actually
Mount Hope Finishing.
Mount Home
Company.
Finishing,
Oh.
yeah.
So this would say
Because
Dayton.
it was earlier, her house is older. than the ones across the
So
street.
Dayton Realty Company,
Mhm.
1921,
1921, and then of course,
then our name.
Dayton,
Yeah,
Massachusetts, Dayton Historic Commission.
yeah. That's interesting. Okay,
All right.
all right, so we have a,
We have to vote.
yes. I say aye.
Aye.
Rafa? Aye. Pat?
Aye.
Okay, and that passes unanimously.
I would like to entertain a motion to approve historical market application for 158 Chase Street.
Same deal, nineteen
Same deal.
twenty-one,
1921.
so moved.
Second,
Second.
Just look up, Irene, and say second, just all her attention. Okay,
the discussion? No? All right, vote.
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Now Woody will stop hounding me for this because he really wants.
Well, wait till it's hanging on the house.
And he
and then-
still insists that his house was built in 1910. Sorry, but he's approved right here.
Why does it think 1910?
I don't know. I don't know where he got the information.
Simply because most of them were, a lot of those in that area were, but if the road didn't exist.
well, if the road didn't exist, doesn't mean there wasn't a house there,
There
that's
could be a
why I
house
asked,
there.
there was no houses,
Yeah, no houses at all, none whatsoever.
okay.
Just.
So do they
just a-
pay
it
for
was
the
a-
markers or does the commission pay for the markers?
No, no,
Oh,
No, they
have to
own her.
pay for them.
They have. to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's the price of the markers?
120.
125.
A 125?
Wonderful.
So that takes us up
Congratulations,
to 10.
Yes.
Ooh. Slowly we go. Okay, hey.
So our goal is what, 1,000 this year? Have to be aggressive.
When was
Because we're
he
fighting
around,
against
he
time.
had an anonymous benefactor who was willing to buy those.
The town markers, yeah,
That was the town markers.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the.
And I still haven't gotten any response on the town markers. I have to hound. We want to put markers on this building,
Mhm.
Segregated Schoolhouse, Smith Memorial, Carnegie, and the North Dayton Fire Barn.
Okay.
Those are all town properties that
Yeah.
qualify. So,
So we need some money.
This one too.
yeah, yeah.
That's 125 a piece, and you got what, 6 properties?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So we have some money like for a couple in our next budget, though Ron did mention someone who would donate.
Yes.
Donate it. We can follow up with him. And I'll. Okay. Segregated Schoolhouse. As you can see, the sign was gone.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been repaired. Cost was about $211. And I think it's coming out of either the building budget or Tom Ferry's budget, because Tom Ferry's guys worked on it. But Jim asked if we could put some money towards the repair, just to show good faith. So I said I would bring it up.
Do you know when are they going to complete the job?
It's done.
It's done.
The sign is done. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
So can I hang it back up?
yeah, Yep.
Okay.
That was quick.
yeah. Oh, if they put Mike Barabee on it to just do it, he does marvelous work.
It's also been repainted, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in my little calculations of what we had left.
Just curious, what kind of budget do they have that we're asked to throw some money in at it?
Yeah, they have more money than we do.
Well, I was gonna say, we don't have much
Yeah.
in there, so what kind of budgets do they have?
Well, I'm not sure what their budgets are, but I do know that.
Yeah.
I do know that everyone's running a little tight, and I also know that they recognize that we don't have a lot of money. It was also suggested in our future planning that we provide more in our equipment and repairs for such things as that.
Really? We were supposed to plan on it rotting away and,
Well, you put it under, it could, then you could every year check it out, paint it and
Mhm.
do whatever,
Can we just ask BP? To provide us with perpetual free service? I mean, anybody would be willing to do it, right?
gonna-
A bunch of students.
Yeah, they're gonna like run from Dayton.
Hey, leave us
They have a long
alone.
list.
It's part of learning.
Yes,
what's the cost? $200?
yeah, 211.
You think they're looking for half?
I was gonna say, you want to throw $100 and say, this is the best we can do?
I thought, that's what I thought
I
would
was
be.
thinking the same
I
thing.
can't vote, but I feel the same way, $100.
Yep.
This is it. That's all
This
we
is it.
have.
Okay,
For
I think that goes a long way to making good relationships too. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to expend $100 to the repair of the Segregated Schoolhouse sign.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor, Rafa,
I,
Pat,
Aye.
Irene,
aye.
and I'm also an aye. All right, thank you. Very good. All right. All right, demolition delay bylaw. Rafa asked to put this on.
okay, so,
So
go ahead.
I sent you what our bylaw is now. And the little map in the back is a map I found that has the towns that have demolition delay bylaws, and they go from none, 0 to greater than 12 months. So that's just a little, and I also can send you, I got the materials, I signed up for a workshop on demolition delay way back in April. I haven't watched it yet, but it's about beginning a demolition delay bylaw. But I figured there's probably information in there that's good background information to have, so I can send that email to you so that you can have those same materials. So when you're bored, you need something to read.
It's interesting to see that 192 towns in Massachusetts do not have any demolition bylaw, delay bylaw.
Right,
Especially the western part of the state, there's a lot of.
Must be falling down over there.
and there's a lot of history out in that western part of Mississippi too, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's my little intro, Rafa.
Okay, so actually I did some information for you guys. Thank you. You're welcome. I actually subscribe to the Massachusetts Historical Commission listserv.
Mhm.
I think Patricia or Pat Gale
Yeah.
as well, and Sabrina. So when I saw this email from a certain Jack Le Manager, from the Winchester Historical Commission, it just really caught my attention. And in the letter, he says that his commission is actually thinking of building a case against their current demolition bylaw using sustainability and climate change as an argument. So I did some research, et cetera. And I said, you know what? Why not? You know, since we're so preoccupied with saving the planet, and of course, saving the planet means we're using same materials over and over again, repurposing materials, recycling. And it's also, in some cases, much cheaper to preserve the existing original materials rather than actually using brand new ones. Because if you're actually creating new material, it affects the carbon print. And also it's sometimes more expensive and it doesn't last as long as the original materials. So I thought, okay, well, this is very interesting. So why don't I propose to the Dayton Historical Commission, if we can probably follow Winchester Historical Commission's idea as far as extending the bylaw from 6 months, which we have right now, to let's say 18 to 24 months. The reason, one of the good reasons for extending the bylaw between 8 and 24 months is basically to discourage future developers. Like, it's the same thing as we're doing with the Forest Hill Estates. Been going on for 20 years. Well, we don't want 20-year bylaw, demolition bylaw. But at least, that amount of time between 8 and 24 months will give every party involved enough time to, to brainstorm some ideas as far as how to preserve an old structure, an old house, etc. And I think, it can be done. It's very feasible. I also checked the research that was done by an architecture expert. She's also a member of the Mass Listserv. Her name's Dr. Ann Lusk.
Oh, I've seen her.
Yeah,
name,
she has
yeah.
a PhD from, she's a lecturer, actually. Yeah, yeah. So she's a lecturer at Boston University Metropolitan College, just a page to that way. And she sent a proposal to the city of Northampton that included historic preservation and sustainability. So the title of her proposal is Historic Property Owners as Carbon Stewards. New Northampton Historic Preservation, an element of the Sustainable Northampton Comprehensive Plan. So there are 19 pages. I didn't print out all of them, but I basically extracted the basic information that she was trying to convey. So it says communities have not been consistently attracting younger and diverse residents to historic preservation. Many residents believe that new construction is more sustainable. New windows are more energy efficient, and the land is better suited for affordable housing or a McMansion, even though the greenest home is one that is already built. So once the demolition of a historic house occurs and a new building built, the land is absent trees, has more hardscape, and has sub-base rubble as the top yard layer. So she goes on, explains all the ramifications, surrounding construction of a new house, as opposed to just having the historic old house remain. And she also discusses the new carbon measures to show historic properties are climate responsive. So if you're setting aside the politics of climate change, I think not everybody agrees, in the existence of climate change. But if you're trying to focus solely on the possibility of recycling materials, if you think the material is still good, no matter how old it is, then I don't see any reason why you cannot reuse it. We've done it before. We've done it many times. We saved some of the materials from the houses that were demolished, and we can do the same thing. And when I think of Water Street, 2120 Water Street, condemned, boarded up.
Well, it's not condemned yet.
It's not condemned yet, but do you know the situation, 2120?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's one of the oldest house in Dayton. It dates
Yeah.
back to 1700.
Wow.
It
Okay,
is.
It's in the National Historic District,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And then I think the bank still owns it. But the bank hired some architect. And rather than showing the house on real estate page, they're showing a fictional.
Right. Oh, I
Photo.
saw that. It's what it could look like.
Yeah, it's
if you-
Right.
it's a monstrosity of a building.
Right.
It doesn't have any character, none whatsoever. It doesn't fit with the historical,
Right.
it doesn't fit with the historical atmosphere of the whole area. So like, gag me with a spoon, like, what is this?
Right.
Okay. But since we don't have any restrictions, we can't do anything.
Right. They're selling it as waterfront property.
Yes.
And when I saw the house, I'm thinking, this is what is there.
Right.
This is what it could look like if you were to buy the land.
Exactly.
And I think it was kind of expensive too. That's what's.
What's the address on that?
Yeah, but
That house?
it's
2120
No.
Water Street. 2120. It's in John Hathaway.
121.
20.
20?
Yeah.
In the street again?
Water Street.
Water Street, okay.
Yeah.
I can send
You won't miss it.
the view like the Form Bs on it, and it's part of the Quorum Water Quorum Historic District, the Quorum Shipyard. So I can send you some information on that.
Okay, that'd be great.
In March of this year, they were only asking 995,000.
Right.
for us.
No, sure, they
Yeah.
used to be like 1 million or something.
Really?
Was it? Yeah, it's just really sad. So that's why, I think it's important to consider the existing bylaw, demolition bylaw in like 6 months, it's nothing. We really need to say, if the longer the demolition bylaw is, the more chance we can probably encourage,
Mhm.
the developers to rethink the design of this house. Because it's ugly, it just doesn't fit with the general historical ambiance of the district. If you're going to demolish a 300-year-old house, at least make an effort to replace it with another one that at least resembles
Mm,
or that reflects the architecture and the design
Right.
of that particular house, So it's hopefully it's a win-win
It's
situation.
the character of the neighborhood.
It's the character of the neighborhood, again, it's the history, whatnot. And on the third page, I did include environmental benefit of building reused, which I found from the website. So.
Look at the posts for the library, those front posts. And they determined that saving them was more beneficial than
Right.
to replacing them.
Right, right. And that's huge,
Sure.
huge, things to do. This is a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of information, a lot to talk
Yeah.
about. So, but I think what really frustrates me is because, I'm not an environmentalist per se, but I don't like to see good materials being wasted or being thrown away just like that in a dumpster. If it's good, use it, Fine, one of these days, if the house of 2120 Waters is going to demolish, what are we going to do
Right.
with the materials?
Or what are the owners going
What are the
to
owners going
do?
to do with materials?
Right.
And
And I think part of our job, and that's where building up our database of historic salvage and stuff comes into play too. Because we say save it to reuse or do something with it, but who is going to do that?
mm.
So that kind of like fits together.
Mhm.
I think this is interesting. One of my questions is the ones that have 12 months and more, the 18 to 24 months delays. How much success do they have?
Good question.
How many homes have they saved? Have they reduced,
You know what town, is this Yarmouth? Is this Yarmouth, the orange one? What is that town?
I don't know.
Okay.
Down on the Cape.
Sandwich, maybe?
Could be, no, that's no.
No, that's not Sandwich.
Probably Yarmouth.
Probably Yarmouth.
We can try,
Check it out.
yeah, I'm just-
I can maybe contact the historic commission chair or whatever.
yeah. And Jen Doherty. I'm curious, how successful are they? Are they able to, save their homes? What's happened? I do also know that when the demolition delay passed in Dayton, it almost didn't. And the 6 months, people could live with. So, we'll have to take a look at that.
I think something else would be too much of a stretch.
It could be for our townspeople, just saying, given what the past has been.
Right.
How many times have we invoked the bylaw?
Well, we've done one.
One?
No, I mean, we did James Briggs and that other house on William Street that they ended up remodeling. We didn't invoke that.
Right.
We said it wasn't historically significant and then they,
Top of Maple.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They did a nice job.
Yeah,
They did.
yeah. So, but there's been the Bowen House. Was that under that? Now I'm using your history brain, Pat.
What I want to ask is, how many months ago did we have the same discussion?
I know.
I know Dave, you're a new member. Irene, I don't even think you were here, but Kenny definitely was.
Yeah.
Kenny was sitting here. You and I we're old as dirt, so we've been sitting here.
You longer than I.
Thank you.
11 years.
I have more dirt. The point is, we talked at that time that 6 months was sufficient. I'm also saving houses, Rafa. It's not that I'm against what you're saying. I'm saying I think the 6 months is sufficient. You're right, it barely passed the first time. I'm not for increasing it at this time. I'm for saving the houses. I'm not for extending the demolition bylaw.
But in order to save a house, you need some time. It
I
doesn't matter- it
understand
doesn't
what
matter
you're
if it's 6
saying.
months or 12 months.
And the sustainability aspect, that's new this time. We didn't talk about that. But if you look in the secretary's minutes, it wasn't that many months ago. We just rehashed this. And we decided at that time, no. So my answer would still be no.
Okay, well,
Okay.
in that case, we'll need to aggressively, I suppose, convince or persuade the younger generation to get interested in this time, because they're all into save Mother Earth anyway. They're all into all this environmental stuff. So why not consider this as another,
I
It's
think
something that,
especially if young families
Yeah.
are moving in here and they're more ecologically conscious than the older residents.
Mhm.
So hopefully that will, change.
I think we can take a look at our 6-month delay bylaw in light of the sustainability and, the things that you
Right.
brought forward.
Yeah.
How can that apply to us and how can we use that to help preserve, and like you're right, 6 months isn't a lot.
Especially, how many houses have been demolished in the last 10 years alone?
And, part of our problem is, because we don't have a local historic district bylaws that really significantly helps to preserve those homes because the owners have to keep up a certain grade, like there are things that they have to do and how they look and paint. And you can't just go and demolish them when there's a local historic district.
A lot of work to cram into 6 months.
Mhm.
It's a lot of work to
Mm.
cram into 6
Right.
months.
Right. My opinion is, I would like that we kind of think not about the time, but I'd be curious about the questions like, how successful are those longer bylaws? Do they make a difference? What kind of communities are they in? Because if they're in, you have different historic communities. You have like Cambridge, who is far more wealthier than Dayton. Some economics, just some background kinds of stuff that, so that we can compare the same things. Are most of the towns that have the 6 months, are they like us?
Okay, I could probably ask those questions in that listserv trend.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd also like to just explore to see how the sustainability, maybe a discussion on reuse and sustainability, how that would work in helping us to, even within the 6 months, and it's a lot to do. I'd like to be educated a little bit more about that, I guess, what I'm saying. So we can just revisit those kinds of questions next month. It wasn't that long ago. It was
I
probably,
don't remember when it
it
was.
was probably about a year ago, because I
Think maybe.
yeah, at least a year. Yeah, but that's okay, I would have again, serious concerns about going back to town meeting because we might lose the 6 months that we have. Unless we were really sure that we had the backing for it. Okay, thank you, Rafa, for doing all that, though.
A lot of work. Thank you.
All right. Helen Lane map. This was a donation from Louise Freeman. Rafa, you just want to grab that. Louise Freeman received it. Received it from Barbara O'Brien, who left it to Louise Freeman in 1993, and Louise lives in Rainham. And she donated it to Town Hall in April. So this is not an original. Helen Lane made, we estimate, between 12 and 14 hand-painted maps like this on material. They're gorgeous. This looks like it's a reproduction of one of those watercolors, those handmade watercolors. The Historical Society also photographed it at one point in time and has sold it as a fundraiser. And Irene said
I have
that she
one.
has one.
That I ended up putting in a really nice, my husband had a fit when I paid $200 for the frame. But it looks nice. I've got it in my home because I'm now living in Dayton. and
Right.
it's-
That's nice.
Right. So I think this is probably, they must have at one point in time done another reproduction of it because it's not on the material, so it's not one of the
I
original
don't know, it
ones.
looks like it's on.
Yeah,
material.
but then it has,
Do you know what year was it painted?
no, it was just says that this spot in 1993 it was given to Louise Freeman. Cromwell's Art Store in New Bedford is the one that originally framed it.
But if you look in the front, it almost looks like it's fabric.
It does look like it's fabric here, but then it has this. And I know this is attached to it because I've seen another one that's unfortunately all laminated and sealed up, and it has the same frame around it, this silver framing.
It's almost like it's raised in a way.
Yeah.
On the border.
Yeah, I think it's the colors of it. I'm not sure. So. Yeah, we got this. I think no matter what it is, it should be reframed to protect it. It belongs to the town and, I did send a letter to Mike and to Jim Aguirre and through Mike to the Board of Selectmen about finding a place to hang it in either Old Town Hall or Town Hall.
They're revamping the town hall. So it'd probably be better here. If
Yeah,
Space right there.
there's space there. Jim said, you know, they'd find a spot,
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be properly secured.
but it has to be
Yes.
framed and it has to be.
Framing could be almost what we just talked about, $300, depending what we're gonna do with it. And who would pay for that? I mean, if it comes out of our budget,
Our budget.
it's gonna leave us pretty much,
Okay, we
And you've
spend the
got-
budget.
yeah, that's true too. They have the free
Have you
cash.
got a set framer that would do that? Because
I
Riverside,
was thinking of taking it down to Riverside Art and asking them for an estimate on it.
because I've had a lot of,
I've done work with them.
yeah, I have too.
They're
They
good.
do a lot of my
Yeah.
stitching pieces and they
Yeah.
do a beautiful, beautiful.
I
job.
had pictures of my great grandparents that they redid. They didn't redo the pictures, but they reframed them and they did a marvelous job.
Yeah.
And I put it back in the old frame. And there was like some of the fancy work on the frame was missing and they just added a little detail so that you didn't notice it
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're awesome, awesome.
Because didn't they do the frame, what was it, the map in the Historical Society? Oh, the Talbot.
Yeah, they did the family tree, the
Yes.
Talbot and yeah, the Talbot map. It's a family tree map of all the
Mm-hmm.
Talbots from Dayton. So. Are we willing to explore prices for reframing it?
We need some good document. The way they sell Swansea.
I know.
I know, yeah. That's the.
And you
old
know, the
stuff.
way he's holding it now, I can see right straight through between the edge of where that gray thing is and the wood frame. You can see right through
Okay,
where his finger is. You can see
Oh,
his
yeah.
finger?
oh, yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if Titan took over this part, so it could be complete letter D?
I don't think so.
Can you like invade Swansea?
Do we want to write a frame like we have in here, or it doesn't matter? 'Cause I'm looking at these pictures here, they're really,
It has to resemble that frames. It's.
If it's gonna go in here, yeah.
okay, maybe use
But then
that as a
you've got-
standard.
Yeah.
But then you've got different
Yeah.
frames over there,
Different
so.
frames here.
Yeah, and then over here too.
The black one?
You get over there, all the way back to that frame again.
Yeah.
Thought.
I like the black frame.
The black frame.
Yeah.
All right, what do we think?
Look at Riverside Art to see.
Get an estimate from Riverside Art? Okay. Is there any place else we should get an estimate from?
What is the name of the framing company?
Riverside Art in Somerset.
On Route 6.
I mean, I've done work with them and they,
I have to, in fact, I was going down tomorrow with a piece of my own stitching that I've got to get framed.
you want to take that with you?
If you trust me to take it with.
Take a picture on your phone with of the screen here.
Or I could ask him what he suggests.
Yeah, what do you suggest? Because you want it to complement, you know. All right, if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be great. Awesome.
You think you want to take a picture of the other frame? Get an idea? Like Peter was saying?
I could ask, I kind of have a feeling he's probably not gonna go with that frame.
With that frame?
Yeah,
Wooden one? What are you talking about?
he may suggest something else. I don't know,
Oh, there's a frame up there. We like to do the same thing.
I would say, we're looking at that. I think actually that wooden piece around the pictures and stuff might be too big,
Yeah.
for the map, so it actually would take away from the
Yeah.
map. Because you're looking, if you look more at that,
At the
Right.
other map over
There's a
there,
narrow
it's a narrow,
yeah,
because you don't want to take away from what you've got. in the
Right.
middle.
With a nice inner frame.
all right, well, see what it says, get a price. You can talk about, if you want, after you take a picture of one of
Yeah,
those
I'll
and,
take one of those.
all right. Okay. Thank you, Irene. Library Building Committee, as you all know, there's an open house on May 13th, which is Saturday, 1 to 3. It's the chance to tour the inside of the building. They're going to do it by group tours because of the egress and the fire regulations. And then there'll be different stations outside to answer all of the library needs and library questions, needs and services, finances, accessibility, building, plus the history of the building. So I'm going to be at a table for the history of Smith Memorial Hall. So I plan on making a little trifold. And I'm going to bring some index cards so people can write down their memories of Smith Memorial Hall. And how it ties to Dayton, why it's important to Dayton, because it's through the Talbot family, because she was a Talbot. Her father was Alan Talbot, who married Mary Luther. He died when she was almost 1. He was lost at sea. She marries Alfred Smith, and they actually end up living in Newport. Their children are born in Newport, but she goes to Alan Talbot's her father, Seth Talbot, who owned one of the houses down on Pleasant Street. And that line eventually goes all the way to Jerry Talbot, one of the first founders. So I've done a little genealogy on it, so I'll have that. I'm thinking I might bring my computer to keep
And
it.
it could go all the way to his wife, who was a Talbot.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, it could.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone's welcome, and anyone here.
I'll be there.
You're,
Jan will be there too.
okay.
Taking a photo.
Yeah, they're doing the photo at 12:45.
That's going to be the cover of the town report for the.
Yeah, that should be really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Ron O'Connor's taking the photo. And I guess they talked a little bit about some video with you, but
Yeah,
that's.
I see someone else can do it because I did the thing last
Yeah.
week. So my wife's really reining me in a little bit. So
Good for her.
no guarantees for Saturday, but I'll talk to Laura, see if someone wants. to
Okay.
cover it.
So you're not gonna be there, so we won't
I
have a,
can't, I got
Yeah.
a thing I've already committed to with the guild and it's like.
right, that's
oh,
fine.
but-
Right. So we won't have a quorum there, so I don't need to post it.
No.
Okay.
Are you gonna help me at my table for a bit, or are you? Okay, or were you just planning on hanging out?
I just want to check out inside. I've been there.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, CPC, I'll be attending my first meeting on May 18th. The regular meeting's at 5:30 and 6 o'clock is their annual public meeting. It's at prime time. And it's open to anybody to come so that you can learn more about the CPC and the financing and how, and the guidelines and how it works.
I'm
Is
sorry,
that
I'm sorry, when's the
generally-
Next meeting again?
May 18th.
May 18th.
That's generally what you do at the annual meeting, because you used to be on that committee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
It's a big group in there right now, so you should enjoy it.
okay. Thank you. We had a letter of resignation from Ronald Smith. Unfortunately, he decided he was resigning from our commission. So I'll entertain a motion to accept Ron Smith's resignation with thanks and appreciation.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Like,
I was just shocked that it was unexpected.
Yeah. All right, we'll vote Rafa,
Aye.
Pat. Hi. Irene, and also an aye. So we say thank you to Ron for his time that he was on the commission. The second email is from Suzanne G. Shao. I think is how you say it from Pal. I probably just like really messed up that name.
Joe.
Shao. She sent an email to notify us about the intensive survey about the archaeological field work for the Taunton River Trail at Sweet Knolls Park. It's scheduled from May 3rd through this Friday, weather permitting, and I know they've been working on it. They invited all of us to attend any of the field work. And let them know, and they'll let us know their work location for that day. So I had shared that with you all. I'm going to be going tomorrow to see some of their field work, so I get an idea what this is all about. And that's that. So that's PAL survey thing is related to this archaeological field work. That's what they sent into the state in order to be able to do this.
It's Chereau, Suzanne Chereau.
Chereau.
CHER.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, it's the R.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
Thank you for figuring that out. Pat, you are going to be my editor. She thinks I'm kidding. Once again. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, public input. Oh, no, before that, once again. We got our book here from the Mass Historical Commission of the State Register of Historic Places. So our two districts are listed in here, as well as the Bridge District, which was on Center Street. It was for, we have two.
I meant 3.
No.
No, the Bridge District was only determined for eligibility. They never followed through on getting it to be on the National Register, but it was eligible, so it's still listed in here. So we must have say 5 years worth of these in our file cabinets. Do you think we can weed them out?
Have we ever used them?
Not really.
Answers that.
I didn't want to make a unilateral decision here, you know?
Please do.
Okay, all right. maybe what we'll do is just pull the pages in the cover page that lists ours and just keep those.
Yeah.
So start with that.
At least keep that one as current,
Yeah, keep the current one, yeah.
and then just the others, just take out what is relevant for us.
Okay,
That's a
right.
Suggestion.
yeah, no, that's kind of what I was thinking. It just reduces space, gives us a little more space in our one file cabinet
That you get in the hallway.
and the stairwell. All right, no public input, or does anyone have any public input? Nope, good. Mass History Alliance is June 5th in Devon's Bath at the Devon's Commons. I sent the link, for the conference. It looks like there's some interesting things. The cost is $110 a person. The mileage for that, I figured out would be about $93 if someone decided to go. So I didn't know if there's any interest in it on June 5th.
I'm
I was
just-
interested.
I'm just questioning how we'll actually benefit. Dayton.
They had a couple sessions on there. I didn't print them
I didn't,
all
I
out.
just printed the link that you sent, just to remind myself.
Yeah,
It's, to me, it looks more like a social gathering rather than actually a conference for serious preservation. You just wasted $110. It's too far away. It's Devon's. I don't know.
That's way out there, yeah.
An hour and
but
15
you guys
minutes.
don't know how to travel. You get in the car and you go.
We don't have a private jet.
I should have printed out the workshops. Some of it appeared to be more for historical societies, some of the workshops. There was one on getting the public involved. There was one on getting younger people involved in history. I think it really is geared more towards societies versus commissions, like when we did the preservation Massachusetts one,
That's a good one.
a lot of that was more commissions.
We
So
should go there next time, the next one.
that's probably going to be
September,
in
isn't it?
September, October, yeah.
Yeah, let's save our money for that one.
Well, it won't be out of, that'll be out of next year's
Fiscal year.
fiscal.
Table it for now.
Table for
this for now.
Yeah, this one's, open for a while.
Yeah,
When did, I forget when the registration,
I don't know, I don't think it's. It just says register today, join your colleagues in June. And to secure your early bird discount.
of 110, so I can't imagine what
Early
their,
All the regular price is gonna be.
so discount for seniors.
Don't laugh.
Wait a minute, I can-
Yeah,
I'll get it up.
probably take $2 off my.
Not that one. I sent that last night, right?
Yeah, you did. This is Monday, May 8th.
Oh, here it is. That's not the one, that's the wrong one.
Talked to the chief yesterday and for Memorial Day shutting down 138. Shutting down. You can.
Looks like I sent you the link for.
I have a black flag and I have a blonde.
Oh, okay, like a little roadblock, like we're doing some work.
They're both rescues.
Might help
from
with this
Georgia.
down.
Yeah,
They're great.
Okay.
Is
but you can't just arbitrarily shut it down.
Yeah, it's just been in the past, there's so much traffic, you know, it's like. Last year I was trying to, it was almost gonna rain, so I was sure to find it out there, and then the last one, I wanted it out there, and
I
then.
found the registration.
Not just strictly on the camera,
Mm.
so. We'll see how the weather's gonna be and go for it. Okay, yeah, if they can delay some of those trucks to go the other way. Then with like, we're working on the street,
Yeah.
that might work, right? That's what you're thinking of, just, okay.
All right.
You guys started at 6:30 now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's at Devon's. 8:30 to 5. So the workshop site has a continental breakfast and networking exhibits. A welcome address by a keynote speaker. One is teaching disability history, collaborating for inclusive history, working with volunteers to develop historic program. That wouldn't apply to us. Future of online programming, community engagement, yesterday's history in today's world. I thought that one could possibly change history, responding to perceptions of racism at history sites through local stories. Then they have discovering local history, engaging students in a post-pandemic world, preservation and community engagement. That one I thought, you know, we have trouble with community. Utilizing the Mass State Archives collections, that's narratives through community engagement at industrial sites and a roadmap. Oh, this is the roving archivist program. We have a roving archivist that comes out and looks at what your things are and helps you to archive and what do you call it, curate. And we do have some stuff in the vault. The third session is multisensory exhibits, which wouldn't have anything. We don't do exhibits really. And collections, balancing preservation and progress, how buildings can reflect the past and look to the future. So some of them, you know, can apply to us, but most of them seem to be more for societies.
Nothing about sustainability versus demolitions.
No.
Damn.
Become an expert on that and then you can present at these conferences.
Yeah.
There you
Charge them
go.
like $100, right?
So it may be best that we pass on this
Okay.
one.
There's some like buzzwords that I don't like.
Yeah,
Mm.
okay. Worth the discussion though, just keep our eyes open. I know there's another one in November at the Veterans Auditorium in Providence. And that might have had some sustainability. If I see that one again, I'll forward it to you. But that was like a full day one and it seems like you were sitting in that auditorium. You know, I like them when you break out into little rooms and you have a table and a chair, you know. All right. The First Baptist Church I followed up on, I chatted with the gentleman who was seeking some. Actually, he was seeking money help from
Yeah,
us.
he was.
And told him we didn't do that sort of thing. So Ron had put together a list of resources, which included, you know, CPC, looking at his own umbrella, religious affiliation. And also Mechanics Bank. Mechanics Bank does do community grants. So I talked with him, gave him the information, told him if he had any other questions to please, you know, get in touch with me and I could help him. I also asked him, I said, oh, I'd like to tour the church at some point and learn the history. And so I'm gonna call him back in a couple of weeks and see if we can do that. So now we have 2 open positions on our commission. So we're looking for volunteers. And our next meeting date is June 13th at 6. You weren't the only one, Peter.
About the same way. I'm gonna jump on the laptop, do some personal emails. They come in, I open up the door, I said, oh, you guys are here.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, and we are adjourned, and let me stop.
Swansea.
Mhm.
You know any Mellows from Swansea? Did you go? to
Yeah, I'll make sure I get
Mellows?
sworn in.
I agree, me none.
Okay.
You don't